Metro makes it very easy to get round. Today we're going to Anderlecht Stadium and it's going to take us about 20 minutes to get there. And then the furthest we've been to the last stop on the 6 line, and it only took us 30 minutes. That's from one side of Brussels to the other in 30 minutes, and you can get a ticket for €14 for 3 days. Boom.
Tell us about the positives and negatives of Brussels.
Positives and negatives. I really haven't had a nice meal since I've been here. The people are generally friendly though. It's easy to get round on the Metro.
Expensive?
Yeah.
And what do you think of the fashion?
Like, if you go out and
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah. The weather?
The weather hasn't been too bad, to be fair.
What about the architecture?
The architecture is beautiful, especially the Grand Place.
So we've just arrived back in the hotel now. We just come back from Anderlecht ground. I think on the whole, we're happy to say that we were impressed.
Yeah, I think it's been the best day we've had since we've been in Brussels. From a football fan perspective, it was really good experience.
I think the thing that I was most surprised about, we spoke about on the way back home, was I think we had an idea of a big drinking culture when it comes down to sort of European football, and I think that might be from sort of what we've had the impression on the media about, you know, like Italian fans and ultras and things like that, and you know, hooliganistic behaviour. But when we were at the ground, there seems to be like a real no-nonsense policy when it comes down to anything like that. And I think in particular as well, a lot of the bars and restaurants in general that we've seen, there hasn't been any sort of vast, open, wide spaces. A lot of them are quite sort of small.
Yeah, they're small and intimate.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that, you know, it's almost sort of like a more of a family vibe than anything else.
We visited 2 stadiums, at the King Barb, the National Stadium. That was disappointing. When you're comparing it to Wembley, what we've got in the UK, which is our national stadium, and when you come up to Wembley, it takes you back and it's really impressive. But when we went to, I don't know about you, James, but when we went to there, it was just like, well, it looked like maybe a League 2, lower league team in England, rather than something that represents the country as a whole. Whereas we gone to Anderlecht, and it had a lot of similarities with Anfield in that it was in a residential area, and it felt a lot like a family club. In a lot of the bars we went into, they had a rapport with the players. They all had signed photographs and memorabilia, etc., like what you get in Anfield. And Sven in the ticket office just made the trip worthwhile by bringing us around the stadium, showed us the executive boxes, and we went pitch side. We've been in the players' tunnel. He drew the line at a kickabout, but you know, we're not complaining.
I think the big thing for me is that we found out as we were leaving. We spoke to a few people in the bar afterwards, and they mentioned that the Anderlecht stadium is well, Anderlecht football team are moving. They're building a 60,000 seater stadium, which is going to house Anderlecht and also the national team. We do the housing module as well, and we asked them what was going to become of the stadium, and they said they were still in talks over it. And we said that there might be an opportunity, which we've seen before, especially in Liverpool, a place like the Bull Ring. They've turned them into sort of either, well, I think now student accommodation, but I remember years ago they used to have, it was residential sort of flats in there.
Yeah, I think the main thing from the perspective of the football team is, do they go along the same route, whereas they move ground, they get a bigger stadium, but does it take away from the family feel that the club has at the moment and go more commercialised?
So you're saying there's a chance that they'll lose part of their identity?
Yeah, like when Arsenal have moved from Highbury to the Emirates, and I've been to games at Highbury, and the atmosphere was unbelievable. And although the facilities are better at the Emirates Stadium, the new stadium, it doesn't have the same feel about it.
What I agree with that, by the way. City's the same, I think.
Yeah, but City's the same, yeah, you go to City.
What I thought was really surprising is the fact that it almost looks like a brand new stadium. Like everything in there, but it seemed to be perfect. And obviously we had a bit of a luxury because we were in some of the boxes and stuff,
Yeah.
and they have boxes that go all the way around the stadium as well. But for me, it's just a case of it. I think it's a bit of a shame. The fact I understand that clubs have got to move on, and obviously with TV money and rights and everything else that go into it, I think it's going to be a shame if that stadium's left.
I just think see, Liverpool and Everton have gone through the same problems really, where Everton were going to move out to the outskirts of the city to Kirby, and all the fans put a stop to it. They didn't like it, and Liverpool have decided to redevelop their existing ground because they didn't want to lose the identity that's been built up over years and years. They didn't want to lose the cop, and people come to Anfield, and if you go away and build a new stadium, it's like your history's starting again because you're not playing at Anfield anymore, and Anderlecht won't be playing there, they'll be playing at another stadium. So it's like you're starting again, and I think a lot of fans don't like that.
Do you know finally, Brussels, looking at the other aspects sort of outside football, maybe looking at the likes of, we found that it can be quite expensive. A big gripe of ours that the quality of the food's not up to par. But the people are friendly.
It's been really difficult to find a nice meal, but having saying that, O'Reilly's bar, where I've been going to observe what it's like to watch the football, it's as good of atmosphere as anywhere in the city of Liverpool. And it's got a wide range of people from different backgrounds, and what got me the most was that the people from different countries and different cultures, they tend to have an English team as the first team rather than someone from Belgium, which is really surprising.
Support your local team, in other words, yeah.
Well, it's just, if I was to say to you, coming from Liverpool, what's your team, and you said to me, oh yeah, I support Barcelona, it's just alien to us. But I think we're spoilt in that respect because we come from the country what's got arguably the best league in the world.
I think what else is good to note as well is that whenever we've watched any Premiership matches on TV, they've all had Sky commentary, which is, especially any 3 o'clock kickoffs, we don't get in the UK. We certainly don't get them on Sky, obviously I think it's for television rights reasons, but over here they manage to get the lot. But generally I think not my favourite sort of European destination. I think what's key to say is that when you do look at the likes of the people that are here, there's not many, we didn't find many people from the city, within the city. The people that we spoke to, a lot of them were Irish. We've seen a South African, we've seen Norwegian, we've seen German.
That's something that I think should be, if they're coming back next year on the field trip, I think rather than just go to university and meet the students for a day, I think the Facebook group maybe should be set up as soon as you pick the module at the start of the year, and then you get a chance to build a rapport up with the students, and also you could maybe tailor what you're going to study to what they're studying, and I think you'd have a better experience when you got here.
Yeah, I agree. I hope this has been helpful.